Free mind, you crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel. Make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is Comics Today, a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And in just a moment, I am going to go to the chat here to see what it is that you may have picked up if you hit the LCS today. I want to know what you picked up. If you read something that was great, I want to know about that. If you want to shout out your LCS, feel free to do that. And if you picked up a book that is not exactly a new book, but it is new to you, we want to know about that as well. And in particular, again, I want to know if you read something today that was good that people should read. And the reason that I asked that question is because we get a lot of questions about what's out now, what's good, what should I read, where should I start, what should I start with, Marvel, DC, Image, Independence, whatever it happens to be. A lot of questions come in. So when you put those comments up in the chat, if you are here in the live chat, it absolutely helps your fellow comic book readers and collectors. So I definitely want to encourage you guys to get after that. As a reminder, this live stream is going to be rebroadcast as part of a podcast, and the podcast is available on all the various podcasting platforms that are out there. All you have to do is to search for Regie Collects, and you will find as many as 165 episodes of my show in different forms and fashion. We probably should release the Sunday show as a podcast, and I say that because I inadvertently wore a white shirt on the last live stream. And it looked bad from my side. I was like, man, that's bright. But then when I saw photos that people decided to share on the social media, it was worser. It was worser. It was worser than anything that I could imagine. I will tell you, people, if I knew that it looked that bad, I would have stopped the show and put a shirt on. I did not know that it was that bad. Now, here's the real problem. The real problem is the live stream that we did. I had so much fun. I had a ton of fun in that live stream, and it is like unwatchable. It is unwatchable because you will burn your corneas out of your head if you attempt to watch it. So I might send it to my brother and ask him to turn it into a podcast so people can at least hear the show, because they will not be able to watch it. It is unwatchable. It is unwatchable. So anyway, it was atrocious. I see all the comments up in here right now. It is, yeah, Neil, neighbor Neil's in here cracking jokes, talking about it's like Ross's white teeth from France. Thank you, Neil. I absolutely appreciate it. We got it together this time, man. I check it out, Blue Wrenches. Next time it's that bad, I need one of you to call me on the phone during the show and be like, look, you need to pause the show, put a cover up on. Anyway, so there is at least one news thing that I want to talk about today, but by and large, I'm honestly just going to be riffing off of whatever it is that comes up in the comment section. There are a few questions that have found their way to me. There's at least one question that I forgot to reference during the last show, so we're going to get to all of that. Fingers crossed that I can cram all of this stuff in here. I did not make it to the LCS because I don't have one, right? But I did manage to get a book. I had a book that showed up here at the house from mycomicshop.com, which is where I have my my pull box with. And a cool book showed up, and I'm trying to do something here in the background, so you guys got to bear with me as I navigate around my, various screens. But the book that showed up is Punisher issue number 7 right there. And little Daredevil and Punisher action right there. I've been reading a lot of old Daredevil right now, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Thoroughly enjoying this old school Daredevil. It's like in the 200s or something like that. If you guys, I could probably give you the number, and I should have been more prepared, but I'm reading something, and I want to say the 200s. I might be like a new Daredevil fan. Like that's how much I'm actually enjoying what I'm reading right now. So definitely some cool stuff. Thanks, Chris Bigger. If you're ever feeling bad about yourself, Chris Bigger will make it worse. Or neighbor Neil. When I need to feel good, I reach out to Tina. Tina makes me always feel better about whatever happens. Jason, how you doing, brother? He said, your LCS, Jason. Your LCS loves you. I know that they do. I got 33 books today. A few copies were the Death of Superman anniversary issue. Just read about, that's definitely RIP to Carlos. I saw that a little bit earlier today, but did not have a chance to really dig into it. So, but yeah, definitely saw that. Scrolling through, Victor, thank you, brother. I feel like it's an homage to something, but I don't think so. I need to noodle it. Like I literally just cut the box open as I was rushing in from soccer with my boy. So, scrolling through some of the comments here. Vox says, speaking of Garage Con, when do we get the con details? They're coming, brother. They're coming. The Garage Con will be taking place here at my house on November 19th. And in order to attend, you have to go to regiecollects.com and register. Send in a copy of your ID, because again, you are coming to my house. So send in a copy of your ID with all your information. The show will run from 9 to 1. And we will be getting details out to people. I think there is an address that I posted to the website for the purpose of distance and drive time. So you have generally all the information that you need at the moment. We will be cascading out an email with the exact address to the house as we get a little bit closer to the event. But I do believe that there is an address there. I know that I put the hotel in there, which is nearby. The hotel gets you in the general vicinity of where I happen to be. Fred, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Do you really, Chris Bigger? Do you really have my back, sir? Tina is indeed the best. Comics by the Bay, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. I'm scrolling through. My brother Mark here has picked up The Knight and the Lady Dark Ride. Dark Ride is from Skybound. It's an interesting read. It's an interesting read. Shock Shop, Moon Knight, Radiant Black Specs, and what is that? 31 titles in all. Yes, it is a sickness, sir. Yes, it is. But I'm pretty sure your LCS loves you. You also got that Gargoyles today for free from the LCS. Steve White said, brother, if you're going to cheat, Steve, you probably shouldn't come on the internet and talk about it. Had to go to my side LCS for 2 books, Traveling to Mars and Shock Shop. I think I have that correct. Scrolling through some of the comments. David, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Victor Perez is in the house. He says, has to visit the LCS here while I'm in Florida after the hurricane. Yeah, I saw a post come up from EGS about the fact that there is a hurricane en route to him and stuff like that. There is some material that we are going to remove by blocking that person. I think one of the blue wrenches already got it. You guys are the best. Speaking of the best, speaking of one of the best, I have to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, my good friends, comicspriceguide.com. This is a really awesome website. If you need pricing information, whether it be for raw books or graded books, comicspriceguide.com has the hookup. They have more than 1.1, technically is getting close to 1.2 million comics listed in their database. And it's a great resource. I will tell you that if I come across a book and I don't have any information on this book, I don't know what this book is, I will search on Comics Price Guide. Even though it's a pricing service, because of the size of the database, it is also a great reference piece. And so I will search here, yes, for pricing information, but also because I'm like, well, what is this book? And is it real? And all that good stuff. It is a wonderful, wonderful website. They have, as I mentioned, they have raw and graded prices here. They also have various tiers of membership that give you access and different functionality to things. A couple of books I just spotlighted. I just spotlighted a couple of these books in one of my recent videos. So definitely a cool resource. I encourage you guys to check it out. One of the things that I hear oftentimes about comicspriceguide.com is that people feel like their pricing isn't as up to date. Again, if you have, 1.2 million comics, that's quite the inventory for people to update. But what's great is that they do have some functionality built into the website that allows you to actually flag a book in the system for the staff to look at and investigate whether the price of that book is indeed up to date. That's one of the ways that you can get involved and say, hey, this doesn't look right. Can somebody look at this? So I definitely encourage you to check out the site. If you need pricing information, if you're going to be buying and selling, you need access to a pricing service. I am a firm believer of that, and comicspriceguide.com is a great resource that is out there for you guys. All right. Let me get back to this. Let me go back to the chat real quick. Guy, how you doing, brother? ASM 121, 122, and 54. There you go. Oh, congrats on the pickup, including the original art. That's what's up. I'm scrolling through some of the comments here. My side LCS will do things that my main LCS just won't do. If you are not having fun in this hobby, you are doing it all wrong. Oh, I know about these books. These are the amalgamation books from the mashup of Marvel and DC. These are very cool titles. I actually did a video on this maybe a year ago or so when I found these books in the 100K collection. Those are very cool pieces of history. There are some rumors out there. There's some rumors out there on the street that potentially Kevin Feige and James Gunn and Peter Safran from Marvel Studios and DC Studios are going to potentially team up and to try to do some stuff like this, amalgamation type stuff. Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean, like bringing the two studios together to do some crossover stuff. It could be cool. It could be cool. No doubt about it. All right. So let me get to the news event. And then what we're going to do, man, we're going to riff and respond, right? So if you guys have questions, we're going to be taking all kinds of questions and just responding to them. It may get me in trouble, but we are going to have some fun as we go down in flames. So there are some rumors. There are some rumors out there on the internet that potentially Lobo is coming to the DC universe. And I do believe it all started with a post that James Gunn put up on the social media. And it was a post featuring Lobo. And it says, James Gunn launches new social media profile with DC Lobo image. And new DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn launches a new social media profile by teasing Lobo with a comic image. The future of DC Universe changed in recent weeks when it was announced that blah, blah, blah. We know that. We've gone through all of that stuff. But here's what the post looks like. And it says, glad to be here. This sparked a lot of rumors about the possibility of James Gunn introducing Lobo into the DC universe. For me, it fell a little flat, right? It fell a little flat to me. And I did not initially talk about it because on his first day, November 1st, when he took over as co-head of DC Studios, he put up a clip, a comic strip featuring Superman. So I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing there, right? But this was the start of it. This was the start, I do believe, of the Lobo is coming to the DC universe. I think the next part of it was some comments that were being made by Jason Momoa, who currently plays Aquaman. And I just showed the wrong thing. We didn't want to show that one just yet. There was some comments that he made when he was doing an interview, and let's see if I can get it right this time, with, I think it was a Canadian outlet. And Jason says, teases this dream could come true under the current leadership. And here, let me see if I can find a section here I think with Peter Safran and Mr. Gunn at the helm now of DC, I'm very excited about that. He says to ET Canada, there's a lot of cool things going to be coming up, and one of my dreams come true will be happening under their watch. So there was a lot of speculation when this came out as to whether he was talking about, Justice League 2 or something like that. This was like the second part of it. And so then there was this avalanche of rumors out there that Jason Momoa was going to become Lobo. And that didn't that too fell a little flat to me, because he's Aquaman and he's doing a really good job as Aquaman. I mean, his movie brought in, what was it, $1.1 billion. It is the highest grossing movie that they have launched in recent years. And so I didn't think he was going to be suddenly going from Aquaman to Lobo. But again, those were the rumors that were circulating out there. I think it took a little bit of sleuthing, and by sleuthing I mean I I basically went to the internet and Googled it. But going back to 2019. Going back to 2019, there was an article on comicbook.com in which Jason Momoa highlights that he wanted Lobo to be in the sequel for Aquaman. And he originally wanted, I think the article says here, Ezra Miller's Flash, which I think is probably a no-go at this point. But he wanted Ezra Miller's Flash and Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, to actually be in it. But he actually threw them a curveball. He threw the interviewer a curveball by saying Lobo. And he said, yeah, he wanted a villain to be in the movie. And again, this was going back to 2019 that this was actually revealed. And so I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know what the answer is. I still do not think that Jason Momoa is going to become Lobo, but the rumors persist. And earlier today, I was on the Instagram. And I found this on the Instagram. And let's see if this thing will actually play.
Did he really?
He posted a photo of Lobo. He posted a photo of Lobo on Mastodon to say, I'm on this app too, with a tease of Lobo. Is your statement and his post connected at all? Fair enough.
Well, everyone knows I'm a comic book fan, and so the comic that I collect the most, and I have every comic there is, you can do your research and find out what it is.
I love it, man. I saw James post Lobo. Are those two?
Did he really?
So that was on this guy's page, and maybe it is true. Maybe it is actually going to happen, and maybe the dream come true that Jason Momoa was pointing to was the possibility that Lobo could be a villain in an upcoming Aquaman movie. The movie has been pushed back. I want to say to 2024. I think you guys may have to correct me on that. Who knows? What I think at this point, all bets are off. We had Henry Cavill, who was done being Superman. Reportedly, now he's back as Superman. I think all bets are off as to what the future could hold. It will be very interesting to see how all this plays out. I will be completely honest. I don't know a whole lot about Lobo. I feel like I should go read some Lobo now to get myself up to speed, because if Lobo is indeed coming, I want to be prepared for that to go down. Going to go to the chat real quick. Are there any Lobo fans in here? Is there anybody that's interested in seeing Lobo come into the DCU? Would that be a good move? Like, that's one of the big questions. Would that be a good move? I've seen some people out there saying that Lobo is too close to Peacemaker, I guess, in terms of like the tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff. I don't read a lot of Lobo again, so I really don't know. Chris Bigger says no release date is safe. No doubt about it, man. I think that they are making adjustments, man. Maybe it will be the new 52 Lobo. I don't get that joke, Phil. I don't get that joke, brother. I'm still catching up on all the things that are DC, so I don't get that one. But let me see. I'm scrolling through. What is that? I have been saying Gunn was going to do Lobo when he got hired. So, Matt, you are a soothsayer, sir. You, sir, are a soothsayer. You know things. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Lobo is a great character. One of my faves, says Trev. That's what's up. I'm such a fan. I named my new puppy. Well, from what I know of Lobo, that could be a bad move. Dave, I'm just gonna say it might not work out for you. It might not work out for you. There you go. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Steve says, I picked up the newer Lobo books and they were entertaining, but alas, I never really followed the character. Scrolling through, Lobo does a lot of fourth wall breaks, says Mark. There you go. Matt says he is a great character. Again, maybe I need to catch up and get up to speed because I don't know very much about Lobo at all. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and transition. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the questions that have found their way to me. Shout out to everybody that sent a question in on the Instagram. Certainly, we're going to be pulling questions up here from the live stream. If you guys put them in all caps, it will actually help me to find those questions. And I'm trying to find my questions here on my phone. Let me look over here, scrolling through. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Like, you spoke that into existence, sir. You spoke that into existence by calling that dog Lobo. Check that out. Okay. That's prep time, man. You got some prep time, because what I read is that, and you guys have to correct me on this, that Lobo is as strong as Superman. That's kind of what they were saying in this one thing that I saw. But he's also incredibly smart and cunning was the other part of it. So it could be really interesting. There you go. Phil-tastic. Thank you, brother. Because I was lost, Phil. I was lost on the comment. He says the new 52 Lobo was ungood. Yes, that is a technical term. He was very svelte and did not last long. Okay, there you go. So not a good move. Not a good. Oh, he can regenerate. Yay. Oh, stand up. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. It is good to see you. Welcome. Backseat Driver is a long-term subscriber of the channel. I've gotten to know him pretty well behind the scenes. It is good to see you back. It is good to see you back, brother. I hope all is well with you. Tina's asking about the theme back there. I'm pretty sure people know what the theme is back there. I forgot I even changed the wall, to be honest with you. It totally slipped my mind. I'm scanning that comment down there. All right. So the wall theme is cosmic. It is cosmic. And I'll tell you, that painting down there for 49 looks spectacular next to the actual comic 49. I wish that my comic were as high grade as that painting, but alas, that is not the case. But I decided to do some cosmic stuff, so that's what that is. The painting inspired me to go the cosmic route. So we have some pretty cool books up there. I think most of those books are ones that people recognize. Eternity. We got some Beyonder back there, Null, the Sentry, et cetera, et cetera. Some cool stuff back there. There you go. There you go. Again, I'm gonna have to check out. I'm gonna have to check out some Lobo, man. Last time I checked, the wait time on his work was about a year, but that was a while ago. Who knows what it is now? All right, so let me answer a couple of questions. So there was a question that found its way to me. Man, where is that question? It was a good question. All right, so this is it. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for my old eyes. It says the question, and I'll have to paraphrase this. Did you ever think you would be a comic book personality and the owner and head of your own comic book publishing company? Did little Reggie ever envision this happening when he got older? So I would say little Reggie is probably spelled with 2 G's, and this Reggie only goes with 1 G. I would say to you that I have always felt like I was going to do some really cool stuff. And I don't know that that's any different from maybe how other people think. So I don't think that that's particularly unique. I will tell you that I don't know that I feel like I've done that great thing, right? Translated, I am still hungry. There are things that I still want to accomplish and that I still want to do. Now, with that said, I recognize that a lot of the things that I have done should be treasured, right? Should be treasured and time has to be taken to reflect upon those things, because I've done some really cool stuff in my life. And you know, it's just one of those things, man, where I don't feel satisfied. I feel like there's more that I can do. There's more that I should do. And I don't know that will ever go away. But I've done some really cool stuff, man. I'm pleased with the way that the community has embraced me and the channel. I'm pleased with being able to release, you know, a comic book guy with another coming up, and to be able to work with some incredibly talented people to put out a comic. That living my best life, man. Living my best life in a lot of ways. So scrolling through 2021, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you up in here. So that was one of the questions that came in. I honestly never saw a lot of this stuff coming, you know what I'm saying? But I constantly put my head down and ask myself the what if question. And I always tell people I'm too stupid to believe that something is impossible. I'm too stupid to believe that I'm not capable of achieving this, that, or the other. And then I just go after it and things happen. And I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. What's next? What's the next thing that we can do? I think now, as I've gotten a little older, I think I take more time to reflect upon the things that I've accomplished, you know, versus just rushing to the next one. So, but there you go. Again, if you guys have questions, throw them up in all caps. It will absolutely help me to focus on those things. There was a question that came in around what was the next book that I'm working on getting in the collection. As I alluded to in the last live stream, I'm not gonna preempt myself by saying what it is that I'm going to get. There are some DC books that I am taking a hard look at, because I believe that DC Comics generally are undervalued. And what I mean by that is that they are not as expensive as Marvel books, which means that it's a good time for me personally to buy those books, not necessarily because I think they're going to skyrocket in value or any of that other kind of stuff, but because I have a respectable Marvel collection, and now I would want to add to it some really awesome DC Silver Age comics as well, to round out the Silver Age that exists in my collection. And I believe that DC books are undervalued, which means that it could be a really good time to buy those books. Mark is asking if I could put at least one DC book on the wall for Chris Bigger. No, because Chris Bigger started off this live stream with busting on me about my white shirt burning people's corneas and giving him sunburn. So no, I'm not putting a DC book I'm not putting a DC book up there for him. Forget about him. No. Chris Bigger's a good dude. We literally talk. We exchange emails pretty much every day, all day. Shout out to Chris Bigger. Everyone needs to have that drive and determination for what they want to do with their life, brother. You know, I remember back in the day, I was working for IBM. My parents got me a job working for IBM. And I was part of a team. We would service point of sale terminals for IBM, because they had all of these point of sale terminals at like JC Penney's and all of these grocery stores and all this stuff. And I would drive around all Michigan, and I would service clean point of sale terminals. And I was doing this during the summer, and I remember I would come home at the end of the day, right? I've been driving all day. I've got ink on my fingers, ink on my shirt, right? And my father would look at me and he'd be like, "You have too much free time." I'm like, whoa. He made me go out and get another job. My dad made me go out and get another job. I ended up working at the Wilds Pair. I sold shoes. I don't like feet. And I certainly did not like working at a shoe store, but I did it. And, I blame to some degree or another my parents for not allowing me to be lazy. But that's only part of it, right? I think your parents are only part of it. The other part of it is what are you going to do with your life? How are you going to decide how your life will play out? And, I think my parents tried their best to put that in me, and I've tried to maintain it and make them proud of me, man. At the end of the day, Mr. E is asking a question. You ever thought about opening up your own LCS? You could call it Swoldier Comics and Collectibles. Mr. E, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Have you ever spoken to LCS owners? Many of them are not happy, sir. I love my life. I would never honestly be a slave to a building. Like, I don't want to go to a building every single day, even if it's my building. LCS owners work incredibly hard, and their margins are not great. If anything, if anything, I would be a dealer. I would travel around to cons, and I would sell books. I would set up a booth and I would sell books. That's what I would probably do. But I don't know if I'll ever get to that point, to be honest with you, right? I would love to just be a content creator full time, but that too is not in the cards for me right now. So man, in high school, I worked at .NET, a shrimp hut. I fry fish. I left there. I went to rallies, and I love rallies. I loved making hamburgers. I'll be completely honest with you. I was like high school, got promoted to a manager at rallies. Got fired from rallies. Didn't end the way that I wanted it to. Got fired from there. Went to Taco Bell, and Taco Bell was my last fast food gig. It was, I think, also the last time that I had ever consumed Taco Bell, because I don't know if you guys know this. The meat that they serve there is grade D meat. That is grade D meat, and please do not eat the chili from rallies. You don't even want to know about the chili. Stay away from and my there you go. The LCS owner keeps trying to sell me. Yeah, there's a reason why he's trying to sell. He's trying to get from up under that thing, man. There is no doubt about that. Brick and mortar is expensive. The overhead, the rent, or even if you own the building, it's super expensive. The insurance, I would rather, if I build my garage, if we ever build, I will sling comics out of my garage. I may have to be able to afford the garage. That's how expensive the garage is. I don't know if neighbor Neil is still here, but neighbor Neil knows exactly what I am talking about. I'm scrolling through some of the comments here. Frog Brawler, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Pop-up comic shops and cons are the way to go. There you go, man. No overhead. It's just me and a truck. Me and a truck going very short distances. You know, I get sleepy when I drive. Backseat driver, you brother. Welcome back. A lot has changed, my friend. As you know, backseat driver, everything that I do lends itself to the next thing. And the next thing that we decided to do after releasing the guide last year was we decided to set up a publisher. Soldier Publishing has released one comic book, Isolation, written by Doug Bratton, illustrated by some incredibly talented creators. Issue 2 is going to be out before the end of November. And we're also going to have copies available at GarageCon. It is going down. It is going down. I am a salesman, man. I am a salesman. Scrolling down through some of the comments. Since you worked at a shoe store, you can now relate to Al Bundy. No, I can't. No. No. Let me see. Rallies and Reggie's, coincidence. I do still enjoy a good rally fry. I will be honest with you. My wife buys the rally fries for me here at the house. I enjoy them. Scrolling. I'm trying to help Reggie get a garage. There you go. What is that? Best Shrimp next to M&M Shrimp Shack. There you go. Kevin Pitts knows what's up. .NET, a shrimp hut. I was in there one time, brother. And Mason from the radio comes into .NET shrimp hut. I was cooking shrimp with the owners and fish, of course, and chicken with the owners of .NET shrimp hut in Oak Park, Michigan. That's where it all went down for me. I left .NET shrimp hut. I walked down probably 6 doors, and Rallies was at the very end. If you guys know Oak Park, Michigan, you know exactly where the Rallies or Checkers is, right there on that corner. I do believe that it is still there. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Again, if you guys have questions, throw it up in all caps. Never heard Checkers. Same difference, Tina. Same difference. Inject Isolation 2 into my veins. It's really good. Isolation 2 is really good. I will tell you, there are some very powerful scenes that happen in Isolation. There are some really incredible and powerful moments in issue number 2 that I cannot wait for people to be able to read and to be able to visually enjoy, because there is some magic going in. Brother, I'll be completely honest. I don't know people. I don't know Lobo all that well, and I don't know actors. The question that I would ask you, Cross Bronx Collectibles, is who would you fan cast as Lobo? That is the question. Oh man, there was a Hardee's. We had a Hardee's. It was always empty. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how Hardee's or because I think they had those biscuits with the gravy. I don't know how they or Arby's, they got the meats. I don't know how either one of those stay in business. I'll be completely honest with you. There's an Arby's not too far from my house. There's never anybody there, and there hasn't been anybody there for decades. I don't know how they stay in business. Tina. Scrolling through, I'm scrolling through. I would cast Lobo. I would cast RoboCop as Lobo. Scrolling through. All right, the mushroom burger. They had burgers there. I'm gonna be honest with you. Only time I ever went to Hardee's was when we skipped school and slid right into there because it wasn't too far from the school. What's the best advice for how many books to submit for any grading company? That was the question. Is what's the best advice for how many books? There is no magic number. I would say to you that I think that this question comes from a place of all of the speculation and rumors that exist out there in the community, where if you send a certain number of books, you get a certain level of attention. They may move through the system at a different speed. Maybe this grader that's a better grader gets the books. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I really don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't think that there is a magic number for submission. I don't think that submitting multiple copies of the same book can be detrimental unless of course, you're sending in two 9.8s and a book that is not a 9.8. It becomes very apparent when you look at the three of the books in order that one of them is not a 9.8. Yeah, that could come back to haunt you. But the same can be said if you sent that book solo right along independently, they would probably still arguably see the same defects because there is a standard that they adhere to. So I don't think that there is a magic number when you submit books in. I think you take your best shot on goal. You make sure you take a look at your books before submission. Maybe you take some photos, maybe you shoot some video. You go ahead and send your books in and hope hope some magic happens for you. Neil says, what did that say? I eat all the time at Hardee's. I just make sure Reggie is in it. There you go. All right. I cast the actor that played Negan from The Walking Dead. You know what? I could actually see that. Because the guy that played Negan he has that look, that dark hair look that you see with Lobo. I could see that. That's a good one. That's not a bad. Submitted books to to Canada to CGC is detrimental to my wallet. There's absolutely nothing that I can do for you there. But Steve, there is, and I have not dug into this, so you will have to correct me. Isn't there now a CGC destination in Canada where you can actually send your books to an address in Canada? I saw a press release on that, but I honestly did not read a single detail of it. But I do believe that CGC now has an address or a partner in Canada where you can send your books to. I think they then bundle those books up and forward them on to CGC in Sarasota for grading. But that may actually help you. You may want to check into that. I will tell you that one of the other questions, and there's two questions I'll try to get to, is I personally don't know if CGC should or would ever open up another grading facility elsewhere outside of Sarasota. And I've gone on record as saying that before, that I believe that if they have a second location, like a franchise or whatever it happens to be, you could get more variability in the grading standards than if they keep everything in a central location where they have tight controls over the graders. If you think about it, if they set up a separate location, not only do they have the overhead to the question of brick and mortar being expensive, but they have complicated their business model by going international. They have additional FTEs there, which include graders, shippers, packers, all of that other kind of stuff. that cost has to go somewhere, right? So I don't know. And then you also have the grading complication. I don't know if opening up an additional facility would ever be in their best interest. That is Reggie's personal preference right there. I believe CGC haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. So maybe it's just, maybe it's something that they're talking about putting in place. So I'll have to defer. I will allow you guys to track down the details of that. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Never been to a Hardee's or Arby's. I'll be honest with you, brother. I don't think you're missing anything from either one of them. I don't think I've ever eaten out of either one of them, to be honest with you. I'm still waiting on my CBCS submission from last year. I feel your pain, brother. 360 days, I do believe, is what it took for me to get mine back. Scrolling through, Travis saying CBCS is backed up there. Scrolling through. Okay, I'm all caught up. All right. So one of the other questions that I wanted to answer or talk about was CGC submission, because this question came into me, and it was a question around, could multiple tiers of books be sent in together? And while that may seem like a simple question, the answer I don't think is as simple. Well, maybe it is. The answer is yes. Yes, you can send in multiple tiers. So a modern and an economy can be sent in. What I would generally recommend that people do is put them on different invoices. So enter them into the system and go all the way through the process, grouping all the moderns together, for example. And then you close that out and you get your packing slip. And then I would do all the economy on a completely separate submission, right? So 2 separate invoices, 2 separate bundles. Then you can put both bundles together in the same shipper box, if that makes sense. So it's 2 invoices for each tier or each like kind book, if you will, in a single shipping box. Fingers crossed that makes sense. The other tidbit that I would offer up is whenever you send your books in, to put your books in the order that they appear on the packing slip, on the invoice. So you may enter them, Punisher, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and on the invoice, it may not appear that way. It may appear Spider-Man, Punisher, Daredevil. You just have to make sure you put them in the right order, because that facilitates their ability to unbox those and enter them into the system the right way. If they know that they're in the right order, it just speeds things up. So I'll offer that up. Hopefully that makes sense to people out there. Smash Burger, one-stop cholesterol shop, but fantastic. There you go. Scrolling through, I think the system, I honestly don't know. I always group my stuff completely different. And the reason that I say that I would not put them on the same invoice is because those books move through the system at separate speeds. So I always group like kind books or like kind services on the same invoice, because they move at different speeds through the system. It's just something that I've always done that way. Even if they separate them on the invoice, I tend to do them as 2 separate invoices. It gives me peace of mind. It works for me. Take it for what it is, which is one person's personal perspective. I think you have to do what makes the most sense in your mind. Serious question, big fat Flash fan. Is he going to get a standalone movie? Also, why they always so yeah, the Flash has a standalone movie that I believe is still scheduled to come out. I think it's coming out in 2023, maybe. I think that they're going to be releasing a trailer at some point. The trailer has actually been delayed a little bit, but I think that the Flash movie is coming out. I want to say, is it June 11th, 2023 or something like that? So I think that that's still going down. Why they always kill him off in the comics, I cannot answer that question for you, my friend. Chris Bigger is our resident DC expert. We are going to defer to Chris Bigger to answer that question. Scrolling through the comments, I clearly have started something. With all the food talk. I see Waffle House. All of this food talk is making me hungry, said Steve. I'm scrolling through. Fights always break out at Waffle House. I don't think I've ever been there. I don't think that I've ever been there at all. Is there a reason why most of my 9.6 slabs have no graders notes on them? It's annoying and makes me feel like they're all CPR candidates. It's a legitimate question, brother. And it's nearly impossible for me to answer the question as to why your 9.6s get them. I would say that generally speaking, for whatever reason, they don't do a lot of graders notes on 9.6s. It is one of the many complaints that is levied against CGC. What I would say to you is this. In my experience, you can oftentimes look at even a 9.6 and identify defects that will result in that book not getting a 9.6. And I say that from experience, having looked at my own 9.6s and wondered why they did not get a 9.8. If I'm being honest with myself and look carefully at those books, oftentimes I can identify some defects. Now, the challenge, of course, is that you could say the same thing about some 9.8s. There's some 9.8s that you can look at and actually spot similar defects. So it is tough. What I will encourage you to do, brother, before you CPR those books, crack, press, and resubmit is what CPR stands for, is think about the cost associated with that, the cost of time and the dollars and cents of that versus the value of those books. You definitely want to give some thought to that. The other thing I would say to you is, if you firmly believe that you are submitting books in that have the potential to be a 9.8, do a screener. Put a pre-screen in place, submit the minimum number of books, and I can't remember what it is. It might be 25. I cannot remember. Submit the minimum number of books, put the pre-screen in place, and that way you will only pay the full price for those books that are 9.8 or above, right? Anything less than that, you pay, what is it, $5, $8? I can't remember. That potentially is a better way to go. If you firmly believe your book is a 9.8, send it in as a 9.8 and don't worry about the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? But if you believe that maybe it could be a 9.6, then you set your pre-screen at 9.6, and that way you get the 9.6 and the 9.8. Anything below that, you pay the $8 or whatever it happens to be. That's a way to go. All right. So scrolling through, seeing what everybody's talking about. Again, if you guys have questions, throw it up in all caps. There you go. Coming out. There you go. I do believe, Izzy, that it is June 11th of 2023. I do believe, I think it just depends. No, man, they're releasing that movie. Child, that movie is coming out. There is no way that I think that they've spent, too much money on that movie with the reshoots and all that kind of stuff. They've stuck by Ezra Miller for all this time. I think it's going down. Scrolling through, they kill him off first to show him mercy. Superman is faster. Neil's reminiscing over his last Waffle House meal. Scrolling through, let me see. Happy to get legitimate comic book questions and not fast food questions. Blue Wrench, well done. Well done, Blue Wrench, as I attempt to see out of my eye because it's not quite working. I'm scrolling through some of the comments. Again, if you guys have questions, throw them all a bit in caps. Brandon says that is why I collect 9.4s. A 9.4 is a respectable grade, man. It's a respectable grade. It actually does bring me to another question that came in. Someone asked the question of whether it was worthwhile to get, and I cannot remember what the book was. It was a modern book. It was an 8.0, but it was signed by Stan Lee. And their question was, is it worthwhile to get that book, or is it not, simply because it's not a 9.8? And it's to this comment here from Brandon. Some of it is personal preference. If you want to get a 9.4 or a 9.8 or 8.0, and that book will make you happy and you can afford it, go for it. Go for it. Don't allow me or anybody else to tell you how to spend your money. It's your money, your collection. Do what makes you happy. If you buy that book and a year from now you're still happy about that purchase, get after it, right? There's doubt in your mind that was a good purchase, then maybe you should not do it. What I will say to you about personal preferences, I generally prefer to buy books that are Blue Label. I'm not a huge fan of signature series books. Do I have any on the wall? No, not a huge fan of it unless I get to meet the creator. To me, meeting the creator, getting the signature on my book, that's what makes it special, not necessarily buying a book that has already been signed. But with Stan having passed away, you get what you get. Now, with that said, the book, if I remember, Stan had nothing to do with the book. Like there was no Stan Lee presents in the book or any of that other kind of stuff. There was no mention of Stan Lee. So I felt like the person had the book signed because it was a lower grade modern book and they wanted to get some money out of it. You know what I'm saying? So they got it signed. But if memory serves, the price that was being asked for was probably the price was less than the signature probably cost, because Stan towards the end of his life was charging a nice chunk of money for books, and to get it graded, that person's probably underwater with that particular book. But I prefer signatures that I get personally, Blue Labels, and generally I feel like if it's a modern book, it should be a 9.8. If I have a choice, I'm going to get a modern book that is a 9.8, but that is my personal preference. When do you think AI grading takes over? You know, I believe that artificial intelligence still has a long way to go before it can even be in a position to take over. My general feeling is that there are probably some grading companies, probably CGC, that is out there experimenting right now with AI. I feel that way. I think it was 3 years ago that I did a call with a consultant, and all of the questions had to do with artificial intelligence. And the question is, how did this consultant find me? May have found me because I talked to all the grading companies, and that potentially is how they found me and decided to reach out to me. And the person would not reveal any details. So I feel like there's the possibility that CGC is experimenting with AI right now. My feeling is that they're probably just using it to confirm some of the findings right now, or to give graders an initial read of a book. Do a scan. This is probably low grade, high grade, medium grade. That, it's some of that stuff. It is not close to actually grading a comic. That is my belief. Maybe it helps with intake or something like that. They scan it through, recognizes it as Punisher, issue number 7. I have it here on the desk, so that's why. All right. Scrolling through the comments here. Oh, that's right. Thank you. June 23rd. The day before my birthday. I will probably not forget that now. June 23rd, 2023. That's what's up. Scrolling through, will you sign isolation? And so, great question. That is a great question. So yes, Doug will be here on site as well. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, I'm going to hold some of that stuff. So we're absolutely going to be selling and signing. Signatures are all free. We're not charging for signatures or any of that kind of stuff. In my mind, if someone makes it out to GarageCon and they want us to sign Isolation 1 or 2 or the guide, we will absolutely do that. Doug is probably going to watch this back on replay. Make sure you bring your markers, brother, so we can get these signatures done. Scrolling through, how many isolation issues do you realistically think that you can make? So I can make an infinite number of them, right? I mean, the cap is not how many I can make. The cap is how many I can sell. That is always the question. And you want there to be a very little delta between those things. You don't want to have too many left over, and you certainly don't want to undersell. So in my mind, it's not a question about how many. Oh, I think I'm answering the question a little bit differently. So your question is, how many different issues will I be able to release over time? I think that's the question, not specific prints, right? So I don't know the answer to that. I really don't know the answer to that. I feel like we lost some momentum between issue number 1 and issue number 2. And we are trying to make up for that loss of momentum as we speak by working on issue number 3 right now. So much of what we will be able to do will be driven by me maintaining a good delta between orders and sales. Right. And at a certain point, if I'm able to do that and do that well, then that means that we are turning a profit and being able to reinvest that money back into the next issue. Right. If people aren't buying, then that math won't work out, right? The cost of the book will be the cost of the production of the book. The cost of the artwork will be greater than the profits that are brought in. So the big question is, in my mind, is will people continue to buy to allow us to continue to produce it? And if the answer is 3 issues, then it'll be 3 issues. If it's more than that, then we'll see where it goes. And a lot also depends upon some other factors that exist. So we will see how it plays out. I will tell you that if it is 2 issues, if it is 3 issues, if it is 36 issues, I am very proud of the work that the team has done. I will tell you that for a fact. I'm very proud of the work that the team has done. And sorry, Steve, I misunderstood your question the first time. We have enough content right now for about 36 issues. Doug is never short of words. So we have plenty of issues that have been written that are ready to rock. So do I think Radiant Black Universe will get a show? You know, I'll be honest with you, brother. I feel like, you know, I don't know. I have not read Radiant Black maybe since issue 1 or issue 2. I will say to you that I feel like the current economy is slowing tremendously. And I started to signal that many months ago. I think that many of the outlets for these shows to be shown are experiencing some tough times. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Amazon or Netflix or HBO Max. So the question will be, where will these shows be released? A lot of the streaming platforms are having a really tough time. So where are they going to go? It's not about whether they're going to get optioned even. It's more about who's going to pay for the production and where will they be released. I don't know the answers to that. I really don't. I mean, you look at what Warner Brothers is doing right now. They're scaling back big time. Netflix, I don't know about Netflix, to be honest with you. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Scrolling through some of the comments here, was Stan charging or was it his handlers? Oh, Chris Bigger, come on, brother. Chris Bigger, let me see. I'm scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are saying. Scrolling through the comments here. Again, if you throw it up in all caps, it will help me to be able to see it. I'm scrolling. Reggie, questions from my wife. Do you know how long you intend on collecting comics? It's a good question. I think that I will continue collecting comics as long as I'm enjoying them, you know, and I'm enjoying comics, and I use that term loosely because for me, it is about the YouTube channel. It's about Instagram. It's about the guide. It's about isolation. It's about the podcast. I'm enjoying comics as a whole. And I would say whenever I stop enjoying it, then I'll start to pull back. But there's a lot of guys out there like Milt and Mark up in Canada that are seasoned collectors that are still enjoying reading comics. And I hope to be like those guys. I hope to be seasoned more so than I am now, still enjoying comics. You know, as I've said before, I've made a commitment to my wife that I will not leave her the size of collection that I have now. I'll not leave Earth with all these books. So at some point, books will move on. But hopefully, I'm still going to be reading and enjoying these things. So how good does it feel to have a huge project like Isolation? Man, it's a wonderful thing, man. You know, I think about all the people that we support is probably the wrong word, right? But that we are able to compensate that are involved with this project, and it's the writer. It's the artist, the letterer, the inker, the artist assistant. It's the cover artist. It's the guy that does production. It is the printer. There are a lot of people that benefit from the things that we do. And it's cool. It's cool to be able to allow people that have always wanted to create a comic to be able to create a comic. It's cool when your project is the very first published work for a group of really talented artists that spent years at the Kubert School learning how to make this art. It's a cool thing. It really is. And that's why I'm saying, if it's 3 issues, if it's 36 issues, it's still a win for us. It's still a win. And yeah, I would love to see it go the distance. But at the end of the day, the fans, not the fans of Reggie, but the fans of Isolation will determine how long we continue to produce the book. And I'm trying to be as smart as I possibly can about the finances to make sure we don't order too many or under order while maintaining the same quality and still being able to pay all the artists. But you know, it's cool, man. There's no doubt about that one. Scrolling through some of the comments here, and we are getting a little bit close on time. Doug is in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. I am scrolling through the comments here. I'm gonna just scroll down to the bottom. I may be all caught up. I'll pause here to see whether there's any more questions that come in all caps. Another thing that I'll say to you is I've ordered the porta potty. The porta potty will be here for GarageCon. So I did not get the one with the sink. We will have some hand sanitizer so you can hit the hand sanitizer when you come out of the porta potty. But the porta potty will be here for GarageCon November 19th. We're going to be running it from 9 to 1. If you are interested in coming, it is in North Carolina. It is in the Weddington area of North Carolina. Registration and other details are available to you on regiecollects.com. Once you register, as we get closer to the event, an email will be sent out with the exact mailing address and some other details that folks will need to know. All right. Let me see. I'm scrolling up because I think I missed. But what is this? There's a question here. How many keys do you think each character gets? Only one, like their first appearance, or can a character have more than one key book? So the term key is connected with something, some special thing happening. A first appearance, second appearance, a death, a cameo appearance. I will tell you that realistically, a character can have an infinite number of keys, right? Of the first battle, the first time they do this, the first time they do that. The question that really has to be asked is, are those keys that are meaningful to you? Right? Are those keys, are those events, are those moments in time important to you? The first time that Peter Parker put a bag on his head as, bombastic Spider-Man. Is that really a key? Depends on if you're a fan of bags and bombastic Spider-Man, right? The first this, that, or the other. You have to decide whether those are relevant to you. And I will tell you, we are coming out with the second volume of the guide, and part of this question will be explored in great detail in volume 2 of the guide. I will tell you that. But there's an infinite number of keys that a character could have. Events can have keys. Time periods can have keys. The question is, are those keys relevant to you? And technically, a key is an event, if you will, an event, and every single comic has an event. Like, think about it. Comics don't get written where nothing happens, so something has to happen. So what really is a key? Is it about the event, or is it about the value that collectors attach to that event that makes it a worthy book to have? Instead of using the word key, a worthy book to have. Again, it goes back to what is important to you. What is a key to you? Is it first appearances? Is it deaths? Is it the last issue that comes out of a title? I know a lot of people that treasure the very last issue of runs. That's what they dig. Everybody is a little different. So I am way over time. Hulk has 84 keys. Again, there you go. Batman, most of Spider-Man from 1 through 441 is a key, like for some reason or another, because something happened. Somebody has an appearance. The first time this person was seen, and blah, 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 blah. Everything could be a key, which begs the question, is nothing truly significant if everything is significant? I think that's why you have like keys, and then you have grails. And I've done videos on this, and it's like, is it a universal grail? Is it a personal grail? Is it a community grail? Is it a Silver Age grail? Is it a Marvel? You know, there's always different ways to stratify it. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to, what do you value? And I'm using that term loosely. What do you value? What do you want to have in your collection? Action Figures running it down, man. He is running it down over there. Anyway, we are going to get ready to wrap this thing up. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed this impromptu Q&A that I decided to do, I definitely want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button. If you are watching this right now live or on replay and you have yet to subscribe to the channel, I want to encourage you to no longer wait. To just go ahead and smash the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and that way you will not miss any of the content that comes out from my channel. As always, if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. You can do that on Instagram. If you're interested in joining Patreon, as I mentioned during the last live stream, we typically do a once a month Patreon only chat, where Patreon members come on camera with me. We have a private conversation. It's not quite one-on-one, even though I've done one-on-one accidentally in the past. But that's another route for folks to go. Or you can just send me a message on Instagram, because I also respond there for free. But if you need me, I am around. Take care.
My body ate itself until it found its passion. They got fat while we starved, but it's power in fasting. Until I turned to ashes, I remained stoic through my rap heroics. I painted 10,000 poems, then I drank the potion of poetry and motion. I started choking, it was potent. My throat chakra downloaded, knowledge hungry. I was embarrassed I could ask my parents for money when I had a full tummy. So I asked for wisdom, better than crypto, sweeter than honey. I don't take it for granted, I don't wear capes and masks.